The Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration, also known as Remembrance Day, is celebrated on 15th January to commemorate the servicemen of Nigerian Armed Forces. It is also to honor veterans of the World War I and II and the Nigerian Civil War. The occasion also reminds Nigerians to guard the peace and unity of the nation, won at great costs. Nigeria's military heroes and officers were honored during the 2025 Armed Forces Remembrance Day in the FCT and the states across the Federation. The program will also look at what 2025 Armed Forces Day is all about. Thanks for joining us. I am Victoria Clinton, and welcome. With me in the studio for today's conversation is Saleh Magama. He's a National Legal Advisor, Nigerian Legion. You're welcome to Nigeria today.
Thank you, madam.
Also with us, but via Zoom, is Jide Ojo. He's a public affairs analyst. You're welcome to Nigeria today.
Good evening. Happy New Year.
Same to you. Now, I'll start with you, Saleh. Now, share with us what your experience was like, as a serving military personnel, and what today means to you.
Alhamdulillah, I thank God for being in the studio here with you. Well, my service experience, I thank God that after my service, I am here today to celebrate my life and also to celebrate the ex-servicemen who are still alive. So today is a day set aside to remember those who have sacrificed their life for these nations to remain in peace. We are to remember them today and also to celebrate those who are alive. And thank God, today, 15 January 2025, was successful.
Now, what does it really feel like when you see all the activities of, the Remembrance Day celebration, the laying of the wreath and all of that? What did it remind you of?
Yes, the activities of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day start with the launching of this emblem you are seeing, just to wear it for 3 months in honor of our veterans. And today, followed by that, when the President Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces launch the emblem, then it follows by ministerial briefing. Then these are the activities lined up for the commemoration of the Armed Forces Remembrance Day. After the briefing, we have from the Humanitarian Day. We have prayers in the mosques and churches for our fallen heroes. And the culminating point is what happened today, the laying of the wreaths. It makes me to remember that, yes, serving my nation makes me proud. And I thank God I am here alive. Some of those we have worked together are no more because they have paid the supreme price. So there we go, we thank God. We'll always remember.
Indeed, thank you so much. Now, Jide, why is it important for Nigerians to remember and honor, the sacrifices of the military?
Thank you, Victoria. Incidentally, this is the issue I weighed in on in my column in The Punch of today, where I called on compatriots, Nigerians, so let us respect and celebrate our heroes, not just fallen heroes, but also those who are alive. And my article was very thought-provoking because I reflected when I was penning this article yesterday. I reflected on what will have been the state of Nigeria, assuming there is no armed forces. If we do not have armed forces in Nigeria, what will have happened? How we have been able to contain the insecurity and the criminality that is ongoing in the country. So it's a day of reflection, a day of sober reflection, which also is a day for Nigerians to appreciate the military, both whether you're talking of the Nigerian Army, Nigerian Navy, or Air Force. It is a day of sober reflection to say we appreciate you for keeping us safe, for having those sleepless nights. I reflected on how the Nigerian military had fought in the First and Second World War and had fought the War of Unity for 3 years in Nigeria between 1967 to 1970. I also reflected how the Nigerian military had taken on the insurgents since 2009. This is 2025. How they have had to complement the efforts of the Nigerian police and the DSS in fighting the insurgents, the bandits, the vandals, the oil thieves, and all of that. So when you reflect, just imagine what will have been. You know, there is something called Obesian state of nature, where life is short, poor, solitary, and nasty. That is what Nigeria will have been if we do not have the military. And our Nigerian military have been involved in peacekeeping missions across the world, promoting peace and ensuring that there is world peace and order. So it is in reflection of that that we have today, as the comrades in the studio have said, you know, the launch of the emblem, which has been on sale for 3 months, the prayers in the religious worship center, the laying of wreaths, and all of that. But I think Nigeria holds the veterans and the Nigerian military a lot more than we are giving them, because it's still a cause of concern for me that many of our retired military pensioners are still going through harrowing experiences to assess their pension, their gratuities, and their welfare has not been optimally taken care of. Just last week, Tuesday, they have to camp at the Ministry of Finance to mount pressure for the payment of their entitlements. And that is not something that that we should be saying.
That
if we really do appreciate the contributions
Jide,
and efforts
we'll come back to you
military.
on that. I'll come back to you on that. But first of all, let Sally tell us.
Yes.
Okay, you're a member of the Legion. Tell us a little bit of what's the current situation with the Nigerian Legion?
Well, the Nigerian Legion, we thank God that since we came to power, that is in 2021, the national chairman, led by Major General Abdul Malik Jibril, retired, has been doing everything possible to strengthen the Nigerian Legion. And why I said to strengthen the Nigerian Legion, since its establishment in 1964, well, when we came, there is nothing much to talk about the Nigerian Legion. But however, we have taken it upon ourselves to do everything possible to bring Legion to the light as it is today. The unfortunate thing I will tell you is Legion is established to cater for the welfare of ex-servicemen, families and dependents of the fallen heroes, but unfortunately, the Nigerian Legion has not been under any budget. It is only this begging that we go around during this Armed Forces Remembrance Day to launch that we get little thing to take care of the families of the fallen heroes. It's unfortunate, but we are doing everything possible. We have written so many documents to Ministry of Defense, to the National Assembly, to come to the aid of the Nigerian Legion, that is the ex-servicemen.
Now, Jide, you were about saying something, and of course, Sally here has said raised some issues. What effort do you think should be made to preserve the memories of the the fallen heroes? In addition to what he said, and their contributions to Nigeria's peace and security.
Well, as I said in my first intervention, I believe Nigerian states hold the legions a lot more than they are getting right now. When you see, I mean, people like Malam Saleh is even lucky. He's a retired, he's LD, he's a lawyer, so he has to be a lawyer to be a legal advisor to NUP or the legions. But what about those people who have been incapacitated as a result of fighting the cause of peacekeeping in Nigeria? What about them? Many of them are suffering from permanent disability, and they cannot fend for themselves, and their entitlements are not being paid as are when due. Clinton, remember, there was a time they were sleeping under bridges in Abuja, in very deplorable situation. These are discharged veterans that have served, some of them 30 years, 35 years, some of them on wheelchairs, some of them on crutches, some of them are blind as a result of, trying to keep you and I safe. And I believe that it's saddening that they are not on budget in the Ministry of Defense. They should ordinarily be on budget. What about post-housing scheme? There should have been a housing scheme for them so that they will not be at the mercy of landlords after they have served their fatherland. And I was watching Senator Ali Ndume on his sister station yesterday about the very poor pay of the Nigerian military. The assumption in civilian service that the Nigerian military gets very good pay and all of that. But I was shocked that a recruit is still earning maybe 100,000 naira per month. And I don't believe, and that their daily allowance when they go on operations is 1,500. And that's their meal allowance for a day, not just one for a meal. Eukarya, please, in 2025, what will you buy with 1,500? That's not just per meal. We are talking of per day. And these are people who are still in service. We are not talking of those who are pensioners, who are legionnaires, who are veterans. So Nigerian State needs to really rework its budget for Nigerian security and defense sector. I know that they currently hand the highest in the annual budget. In this 2025 budget, I think the budget for the Nigerian security and defense sector is 4.9 trillion. But when you look at the cost of operation, in my earlier reference article, at least all over Nigeria, the Nigerian military is involved in operations all over the Nigerian state. Ordinarily, they are supposed to be concerned with external aggression, and while the police take care of internal insurrection, internal maintenance of law and order. But with the advent of insurgency, banditry, kidnapping, they are found to be deployed. And just imagine people being taken out of their comfort zone, out of their station. You are there deposited from Abuja, you are taken to Sokoto, and your daily meal allowance is 1,500. What will you buy with that? What kind of meal will you get for 1,500? And then the worst case scenario is those who are veterans, who are treated like a piece of rag. Their entitlements are not paid as are due, and it is even poor. Imagine if a serving officer is earning 100,000 per month after retirement, how much will it be? How much will be his take home? And these are people who have spent their active life their young life.
Jide, thank you very much. We'll come back to you. So we'll allow Sally talk to us. And now, Sally,
yes.
there are issues that Jide raised about some of the officers. I'll start from the first one he raised about the support for soldiers who were from the kind of were injured during their active service.
Yes.
Are there measures really on ground to support these soldiers that were injured, physically and mentally?
Good. Like I said earlier, whatever support that may goes to incapacitated ex-servicemen has to come through the Nigerian Legion, because Nigerian Legion is a platform of getting to the veterans. But like I said, it's unfortunate the Nigerian Legion has no budget. Nothing is coming to Nigerian Legion officially.
Okay, let me ask you this.
Yes.
What would the Nigerian Legion want?
We are appealing to the federal government to put Nigerian Legion on budget. That will give us an opportunity to cater for this kind of people, the ex-serving men who are incapacitated, the families of the fallen heroes. We catered for them to take care of their children, at least probably maybe by giving them scholarship, taking care of them, maybe giving them housing, if we have budget. From time to time, we do have veterans that come to the office, asking for one assistance or the other, even the families. Sometimes you will see families of an ex-serviceman or maybe a widow don't have accommodation. She will come to the headquarters. Well, we are handicapped. We have less to do because we don't have budget. We don't have money. That's what I mean, to cater for them. So we are appealing to the federal government to put Nigerian Legion on budget to cater for these families of the fallen heroes, incapacitated ex-servicemen, and the children of the family, the children of the fallen heroes. That is our appeal to the federal government through Ministry of Defense.
Okay. Now, yes. Jide, I know you raised some concerns there about both serving and then the retired, members of the armed forces, and of course even the families of the deceased, the fallen heroes. Now, how can the government and stakeholders improve the standard of living for whether retired or serving, just like you mentioned earlier? What areas do you think they should, as a matter of urgency, try to do something to improve their standard of living?
Well, I think we need to start with the serving military personnel, because they are still in service, and Nigeria, as you know, in Nigeria, is still faced with existential security challenge. And if we want the insecurity to be brought under control, Nigerian government needs to do a lot more for serving military personnel. Look at how much we are losing to oil theft in the Niger Delta region. Look at how insecurity has impacted negatively on agricultural production, with many farmers leaving their farmlands to come to city centers in search of jobs that are not available. So we need to motivate the serving military personnel so that they can double down and perform better at their duty post. Every day they get ambushed and killed. There's hardly a week where you don't read about Nigerian Army losing personnel, Nigerian Force losing personnel to bandits, even though they have taken the war to them and they are winning the war. But we need to motivate them. Like the issue I pointed out earlier, how can you be giving somebody 1,500? That is, if it is true, as a meal allowance per day, when you know the cost of living today, even a child of 5 years old will spend much more than that. And then the salary is nothing to write home about. So we need to first take care of those who are in the active service. Then for the veterans, those who are retired but alive, we need to do more to ensure their comfort so that they don't live to regret their serving their fatherland. And this we can do by incentivizing them, ensuring the prompt payment of their salary, of their pensions and gratuity, ensuring that they have post-service housing scheme where they can, maybe have a roof over their head, they can have a permanent residence after their service, and just ensuring that they have their particularly access to healthcare services is also made free. Their children should have scholarship, particularly if they are incapacitated as a result of their being in active service. There should be a scholarship scheme for their children, and then their access to healthcare delivery for them and their family should be free. And for those who are lucky not to be capacitated, there should be a kind of revolving loans that you can give to them to start their different businesses. After our government is giving loans to micro, small, and medium enterprises, a percentage of this loan can be extended to the veterans who may want to work, who are not too old to start, some businesses. They can get this single-digit interest loan to start a new life, particularly those who are not old. Maybe they were discharged as a result of incapacity, but they are still in full control of their mental faculties and are still active. They can still do stuff. So there are so many ways by which we can incentivize both the retired, the serving, and even the dead. Look at the dead fallen heroes. Many of them, the moment they are dead, within 1 month, they are chased out of the barracks apartment. To go where? They have nowhere to go. But because their husband is dead, and that's the breadwinner of the family, sometimes within weeks or months, they are chased out of their barrack apartment and they become homeless. And that is not how to also encourage. So that's why I'm saying a lot of good incentives can be put in place, both for the serving, the retired, and the dead.
Oh, Jide, thank you very much. But the earlier amount you called, we don't have the facts. You talked about 1,500 for the meal. We don't have those facts, and now back to you, Saleh. Yes. I want to get your closing thoughts on this, the issue of the veterans, welfare for the veterans, the families of the fallen heroes, and of course also the serving military personnel.
Thank you. We really want to appreciate the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. During the launching of this Armed Forces Remembrance Day emblem, he donated 500 million to the Nigerian Legion, which has never happened before since its establishment in 1964.
Which is commendable.
That's why I'm commending him. We appreciate that. We say thank you to Mr. President. And at the same time, the serving and the retired, there are terms and conditions of service that was signed about 6 to 7 years ago, was reviewed recently, and was approved by the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces for the betterment of the serving and the retired. So we also want to commend Mr. President for that. So like I said, we are still appealing to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, the National Assembly, the Ministry of Defense, to consider Nigerian Legion on budget. That will give us much opportunity to deal with so many issues that are affecting ex-military veterans.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
With that, we'll wrap up today's episode of Nigeria Today. A very big thank you to Saleh Magama. He's a National Legal Advisor, Nigerian Legion. Thank you so much for your time
madam.
and
Thank
your contribution. And also via Zoom, we had Jide Ojo. He's a public affairs analyst. Jide, thank you so much for coming on the program.
It's my pleasure. The reference I made was to Senator Ali Ndume, who told us that the allowance for those who are deployed is 1,500 per day for meals. So it's not that I made it.
Thank you very much. And thank you for being part of the program. Remember, Nigeria Today airs every weekday at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can also watch this and other episodes on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24. I'm Mikaria Clinton. See you tomorrow.